So being part of the Mobilise project this year and focusing on cognition and memory has had an impact for us as a setting, because we want to make sure that we're part of trialling and using that educational research and neuroscience within our teaching in order to aid pupil progression, and especially looking at the children that we have who have got a range of complex needs in order to support their pupil progression. When we got together within our cluster and we were working with mainstream schools, we looked at a range of different distributed learning theories, but the two that really stuck out for us and seemed applicable to our site and our federation were the Lightner model. So that was a distributed learning theory where the children revisited things that they'd learned with specific amounts of time between each learning episode. The idea was that children were going to forget things, so when they came back to see it and revisit it again, they would have to retrieve it, and the idea is it was more likely to stay with them. We found that it did support some pupils because it was really easy to track their progress, and we quickly saw improvements in them being able to recall those facts. For some of our children as well, there was no initial impact, and it has taken a much longer period of time to be able to see that. And for some children, the Lightner model didn't have an impact on, but that's also because we've got to take into account all the other complex needs and special educational needs that children have when accessing a learning activity, and they impact on their progression as well. Another theory that we implemented, and which I trialled and have used a lot within my class, is the 2010 model. So that looks at still a distributed learning theory, but condensed down to an actual lesson. So the 2010 model is where you teach something to the children for a period of up to 20 minutes depending on their concentration. Then you have a distractor activity, which we've named a brain break, and that's a chance for the children to do something completely different that allows their brain to switch off and forget what they're doing, and then you come back to it and you recall whatever they've been learning, normally by a different activity. Then you would have another brain break or distractor activity, and then at the end you would come back and apply whatever they've learned via a different activity. And being able to give them children an opportunity to forget what they've learned develops their memory and cognition skills, because they have to work hard to retrieve it at both times during the 2010 model. We found there was a significant impact on concentration and also their engagement in activities from the use of brain breaks. We also found that the children actually wanted and to be part of the lesson that had brain breaks, and they were actually asking us to do them lessons. When we began the journey on the Mobilise project this year for cognition and memory, as I was the lead, I began trialling it within my class, and then when we started to collect some of the data and saw its impact, we wanted to see whether it would have an impact elsewhere within school and not just the students I work with, and whether it would be something that we could take on board and spread further across the Federation. So we've begun trialling it within our site at St Lawrence in different areas of the school, and now also at St Bernard's. So moving forward next year, we're going to collate what we've found. That's including the impact it's had, any of the data that we've collected, what's worked well for us, what might not have worked quite so well, and how we've adapted it, because every group has taken the model on and adapted it to how it best meets the children within their class. So we can collate all of that together, and then we're going to spread what we've got out to different areas of the school in order to support all of our students using all of the methods.